One of the things that many people love about BNI is it's a one per profession organization. So it's supposed to be a group of people non-competing, though most of us may have sometimes run into some folks that could compete with some of us in our business. And so that's why I'm being joined here today by fellow BNI West Central Florida trainer, Jason Avery, as we're going to talk about how to turn your competition into collaboration. Welcome, Jason.
Hi, Tiffany. How are you doing today?
And usually we talk about what part of the world are you in, what time is it, but we're actually in the same time zone, just about 30 minutes apart.
Not that far at all, actually.
No. Now I'm sitting here thinking we should have done this video and then gone out on the boat, but that would have required some planning that I didn't think about till just now.
That would have been a better idea.
Yeah. So I want to tell y'all really quick about Jason, who's going to tackle this conversation with us. He is an expert when it turns into turning your competition into collaboration. Though a little background. So he joined BNI in 2011 with his construction company, Avery Construction. And back then it was a few folks. Now it is this massive multi-million-dollar organization with 40 some employees. He's got 2 other businesses that he started a few years back. And how many businesses are you launching up last year, this year, Jason?
We've got 2 more in the works right now.
Okay. So we'll have, by the end of the year, 5 businesses up and running.
Yes, ma'am.
From one little business with a couple employees, he's grown massively. So he gets the idea of using his competition and using them as collaboration. And speaking of being in BNI, so he has been president, and not once, but twice, same as me. So 2 times as president. And he's the past president of Referral Masters in Clearwater, Florida, which has had 108 members, though they lost a few members. Oh my, they're down to 93. So they just did a visitor's day to ramp those members back up. So I take it you go with the bigger is better in BNI chapter size.
We do. And it feeds right into the conversation from today, because really the chapter as a whole and the core group of members who are never going to leave this place are all adopted the idea of this division of the seats and subdividing into little niches. There can be overlap. Please allow the overlap in your BNI chapter and start subdividing seats. And the people who are the closest to doing exactly what you do tend to be the absolute best referral partners for you. It's amazing.
Now, most people would say, no, I want any kind of referrals to go my way. I remember when I first got into BNI, super hungry, like anything, give to me. So how do we begin to break out of that mindset?
Yeah, I remember it was like 11 years ago when I came on the scene, and I'm 12 now in BNI, going over 12. I remember there was a term they called a category cowboy, and that was a bad thing to have in a chapter, somebody who wanted to hog all the seats. Hey, I'm a general contractor. I do the entire remodel. So should I not have an electrician, a plumber, an air conditioning guy? That wouldn't make any sense at all. And as I started to grow in the training and learning of how this relationship thing works and the power of contact spheres, and then further into power teams, and that's a program that I love teaching people about, opening their eyes to this concept that, in our chapter now, and just using Referral Masters as an example, we have another general contractor just like me, except for his focus is on the windows and doors. And that's where he came from. That was his background, 10 years an installer for a massive manufacturer. So, now he can do other projects. But that's not necessarily what he wants.
So wait, you're a general contractor and you net another general contractor into your chapter? What the heck?
Isn't that funny? So, on the same token, and the flip side of it, one of my other businesses that I don't talk about in BNI because I stay in my lane. My lane is kitchen and bath remodels. But obviously, the biggest part of my remodeling I do in a kitchen is the cabinetry. So I started another business. I own a custom cabinet factory. It's called Designer Cabinets LLC. And we build this stuff. But we don't want to have to chase one new customer at a time. So we went with a wholesale model, and we wholesale to other contractors and other designers and even other cabinet people. So at my BNI chapter, I invited another cabinet person, and we have a person who provides the RTA, ready to assemble type of cabinets. They come flat packed in a box, put them together, and he's got 5 different lines. But the people, the client that purchases his product is not necessarily the same client that purchases my product. Sometimes he comes across clients that want my product, and you know what? I sell it wholesale to him. He can still make money for selling it. And then on the reverse side, sometimes my construction company, who wants to buy all our cabinets custom for obvious reasons, can't sell custom on a project because we have to, be more economical in the approach. And we're just going to throw some less expensive cabinets at it. I'm now able to go for my construction company to purchase from his cabinet factory instead. Now, supply chain. So again, there's overlap in everything that we're doing here, but it absolutely creates relationships that can feed each other more often than the relationships with the people who, are your friends, but in an unrelated industry. And by example, my mother, she'd be my best referral partner. She talks me up to the ladies at Pinochle all the time, projects. But how often is she exposed to somebody who's ready to remodel? An architect is exposed to it all the time. An interior designer is exposed to it all the time. We don't compete, we collaborate. And now that's the obvious referral relationship. But the less obvious one that people don't think about is, what about the other general contractor, just like me, doing exactly what I'm doing? And he's getting calls every day because of his brand and his marketing. He's getting calls for projects that are exactly what he wants, and many of them exactly what I want. We might overlap the middle of town, but he doesn't want to drive to the north side, or I don't want to drive to the south side, or east side, west side, whatever you want to divide the line at. There's plenty of those opportunities where I'm going to get the call first and I didn't even want it, but I can pass it off and hand it off to that other contractor just like me that I know is reputable. And whereas a lead coming in the door to my business from the website, from a home show or something, might only produce a sale 15% of the time. That means 85% of the time I'm wasting my time. Yeah. And so to give some of those away that aren't exactly in the target area, the target, scope of work that I'm looking for, give some of those away. And when I give it and recommend that guy, his chances of closing the deal go up because he's coming recommended from another professional. And so he might have a 25% chance of closing that opportunity instead of 15. And then so when I wait and receive one back in my area, again, what happened? I received a 25% closing opportunity by giving away the 15% closing opportunity. So again, it all works out, but just learning that we can become friends. And in my third company, Constructing Success, I'm coaching other smaller contractors. In that, the very first program that I offer to teach them is my pricing. I give them my pricing. Here you go. Here, competition. You can see exactly what I'm charging. So, they could go undercut me if they want, right? People ask me that all the time. Why would you do that? What if they just go undercut you? Well, if they go undercut me, they're idiots. Why, if you know that I'm going to charge this much, why wouldn't you charge the same amount? And if it's in your area or my area, we'll recommend each other, but otherwise make the money that is fair for the work you're doing in the industry. What I find is most contractors don't have any intention of undercutting anybody else. It's not that, and when you hear that, this price is so much cheaper than that other guy, well, I'm guessing that other guy maybe was a little more thorough and accurate about it. That's, we're very detailed structured to add this all up and show you where does the money go. And if you're less experienced or less exposed, my company's doing 100 projects a year. If you're a solo contractor doing, one project a month, that's a different scenario. You're not exposed to as much. You may not have seen this before. When you open up the wall and surprise, there's something in there. So, the idea is we just need to be able to, help each other out, teach each other about pricing, teach each other about methods that are working. We got to try and improve the industry as a whole has a bad impression. Who heard a horror story about a contractor?
Yeah.
So again, I don't want these contractors to go look bad just because they didn't put it all in the numbers up front. Then they had to beat up their customer with change orders. I'd rather teach them how to do it the right way so that we can all win together, So I have at least 5 other general contractors from, Pasco down through the bottom of Pinellas out to East Hillsboro that I'm really close with. And we refer each other all the time. We've put together instructional videos, training videos, informational videos together. We've collaborated on those items, kind of just telling people what to expect in the market as we had to guide through construction during COVID. So just being able to share resources. text somebody and say, hey, who would you use as a sub for this detail? And that's powerful. And being able to share experiences, being able to subcontract each other at times, to do things, and or just again hand off the referrals that aren't exactly perfect for you. And that was the biggest thing you taught me, Tiffanie, over the years, was how to narrow that target market and be specific about what you're asking for.
Yeah, so I think I've heard you mention that you're specific about what you're asking for when it comes to geography.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've heard you mention that sometimes you differentiate from your competition with specialties. So your kitchen and bathrooms, typically the gentleman in your chapter is windows and doors. Are there any other ways that we can kind of figure out how to turn our competition into collaboration?
Okay, well, it's two different questions. So if you want to talk about the specificity of a target market, and here's how specific it's become today, not only to tell you what it is, but what it isn't. And the target market in this company today is to find Mrs. Jones. Everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses, but Mrs. Jones is the one leading the way, making the decision and picking that thing that nobody's ever seen before, and she's going to be the first to install it. So we want to meet Mrs. Jones at her home behind the gate, on the golf course or on the water, and or maybe we'll visit her at the weekend condo over on the beach. But either way, Mrs. Jones is no longer working for a living if she was a career woman at all, but she's a woman that gets whatever she wants. And she's now an empty nester. She's had a home for 15, 20 years that's a family's been raised in. It's a little worn at the edges, and now it needs, a new fresh breath of life. And we're going to turn that old kid's room into the gym, and the dominoes start falling. And that is the woman I'm looking for. She is not filing an insurance claim. She's not applying for financing. And this is not her investment property that she wants to flip. And this is her personal home instead. And she's not trying to repair anything. We are going to improve things. That's how specific it can be about that target market these days.
And it sounds like, in hearing all these things that you don't do, why it's so easy, because you're so niche, it makes it easy to say, okay, I don't do all of this, and I can just pass those on to those other contractors.
Yes, because there was a time when I did all those kind of projects because I needed every project I could get my hands on. And but now, as you ramp up the networking and the power of your network and the power teams that are proactively making things happen every day, there's enough opportunity coming to you to where you can be more specific about what works perfectly for you, because those little things that aren't perfect bog you down. Now, again, that is exactly how it rolls over into the second part of your question about how do you collaborate, and you decide what you want to do, and then you make sure that you don't tell people no, that you take advantage of these no opportunities to put a deposit in somebody else's relationship bank. And make that connection happen. Call them up and make sure they know that you made that connection happen. Hey, I sent Mrs. Jones your way. And she's got something fancy, but she's up there in that north part of town that I don't go into. And I told her you're the best one in that area. And so, set these people up for success. And the more they cash in on that success, obviously givers gain, the more they're going to want to help you too, because they don't want that to dry up and go away. Now, how many of those relationships can you set up? Do you have a top 12 list going? Do you have, 5 or 6 of the architects, 5 or 6 of the interior designers, a few of the other contractors that you can, cross-pollinate and spend all your time motivating? Because that's where I see that most people drop the ball, is they spend a lot of time to try and meet the people they want to meet, and then they do nothing about it after that. They just expect that the business should happen automatically, and they've done no relationship building at all, no motivating at all. So I go back.
It sounds like you're not only using within your chapter, you're using within the entire region.
Absolutely. And the most members are out there doing their one-to-ones at Panera Bread. And they sit down for an hour. They talk some businessy stuff mixed in with a bunch of personal stuff that didn't matter. And in the end, it all got lost as it didn't matter 30 minutes after the meeting ended. And hopefully, at best, they're setting up some type of an action plan with a follow-up to say, I'm going to go make an email, 3-way email introduction to a potential referral partner. Follow up your one-to-one with some action, so at least you're touching that person again, motivating that person a little bit, and demonstrating your credibility by following up on something that you said you would do. And that's the easy step. I take mine to the next level. I book every golf tournament, fishing tournament, clay shoot, and a poker tournament, anything that would enjoy doing on my day off, and I can bring a group with me. I'm going to, recruit that group of people that I want to deepen the relationship with. And I'm not hanging out for an hour, we're hanging out for 4 hours. I'm introducing them to people that they are motivated by and want to meet, that could maybe build a better relationship and send them referrals as well. And so when you spend that kind of time together, you're making memories, and the memories are what really, really deepen the relationship. I mean, it's like, hey, remember that time we were, back there on the golf course, you hit that one amazing shot, that stuff lasts and stays with you forever. And when you deepen your relationships to that point, that's where the most referral action starts to happen. People go out of their way for their closest friends.
I love it. And I love the idea of bringing, what you like to do for fun into motivating your network. And yes, you're right. It was much more memorable. We were on the boat. We were on the golf course. We were at the tournament than it is, oh yeah, I was at Panera.
A million of those Panera Bread meetings, man. I did them. I did them for so many years, just like every other good BNI member should be doing. But gosh, they all blend together over the years. Members came, members went, I can't call out any one of those Panera Bread meetings. So, remember when, as opposed to events that we went to, the crazy outfits we wore, or, just the silly things that unfolded throughout the day. That's where memories are made. That's where relationships are built.
That's awesome.
If you think your relationships are deep, ask yourself, would you babysit their kids, and would they let you? Would they throw you the keys to their car and say you can keep it for the week while yours is in the shop?
I found this really cute article one time. I'll have to share it on social, y'all. But it's 2 beers and a puppy. So would I want to go and have 2 beers with them? Would I let them take care of my puppy for the weekend? If they say no to both, like, what the heck? If you won't let them do either, you want to have 2 beers, but you won't trust them with the puppy. So we're maybe at the beginning of the relationship. You don't want to have 2 beers, but you'll let them take the puppy. So you trust them, but they ain't no fun, which that ain't good for me, because I got to make sure that my fun is hanging around somewhere. And then if they say yes to both, those are the people that are amazing, and you want more of them in your world.
Absolutely.
All right.
I quote you all the time with that. I tell people that's what I learned from you. I learned how to make more money by saving time and having fun doing it. That's exactly what I took away from all the training.
And we're actually going to be talking about that on the More Abundant Entrepreneur show next week. I'm going to put that into a caption here in just a moment while I let Jason tell us, how do we find out more about you, Jason? I know there's lots going on. Tell us how we can find you.
Well, you're showing my website for construction and remodeling. That's home remodeling. There's also Avery commercial remodeling, but that's just a small piece of what we do for boutique businesses. But in the cabinet factory world, it's designercabinetsllc.com. And anybody that needs a little help, I find that a lot of tradesmen are very good at their trade, but they really don't understand the operation of a business and financials and team structure, and processes and systems and stuff. And so I'm not a coach that works with everybody. I'm a coach that works specifically with general contractors that do remodeling. And you can read my book or learn more about me there at construct-success.com.
Awesome, Jason. And I mean, even in his other business, he's niching down, not a coach for everybody, but he has amazing stuff for the trade folks. Now I'm going to come to you and ask you for last thoughts that you want to leave the audience with on this idea of turning your competition into collaboration. But before I do that, I want to share 2 things with y'all. Next week, we will be having our More Abundant Entrepreneur show. This is the 3rd Tuesday of every month. It's at 3 p.m. on Eastern time zone. The link is here, bit.ly/TK Moore Show. And I'm going to change that link because I think that'll get you there, but I think it's something different. So I'm going to go check on that one Jason's sharing. But also know that we do have coming up next Monday, we will be talking about how to destroy procrastination. So if that's something that you've been dealing with, be sure to tune in. You can do live, leave some comments, interact with Stephanie, who will be our speaker. But Jason, last thoughts for the audience.
Just start building your team today, figure out how you're going to, initiate some collaboration. And I think that, one fun way to do it always is, create a social, maybe have a happy hour and call it a trades happy hour and invite some people from the north part of the county along with some people from the south part of the county that you're in and try and bring them to the middle. And so you can start to, manifest those relationships and figure out where they might come from. Oh, I didn't even know you were up there. Gosh, I had a lead there the other day. I could have sent you. So, put yourself out there to be visible, just what BNI teaches us, be visible first, not even just in the chapter, but in the community to the other people in your industry. Then, figure out how to open the door to collaboration, identify some relationships. Now go start working on those relationships, start deepening those relationships. And it takes time. So, success takes time, and you got to be patient. It's going to take several touches. It's going to take lots of motivation. I find that when I meet a new architect for the first time, it might be a year before I do business with them, maybe more. But I'm going to keep knowing them all the time. I'm going to become their friend anyway. I'm going to refer them anyway. And I'm going to be priming the pump in a relationship. I'm going to show that I'm in the game and I'm willing to help. And by example, and become more credible in the process of doing that. Someday, one time, the person that they're used to working with is going to be unavailable, on vacation, or just messed something up and, frustrated the person they're working with. So you're going to get a chance. And when you get that chance and then you outperform the person they're used to working with, then the floodgates open. And now year after year, can you just add one or two more of those relationships onto the pool of friends that you carry? Can you grow the size of that top referral partners list? And because if you can do that, then that's a revenue stream. You can build a business plan. You can set goals on future revenue streams as you secure those new relationships. That's how big businesses run.
I love it, Jason. And I want to say thank you so very much for being here for our BNI Talks, how to turn your competition into collaboration. Definitely check out Jason as a dozen-year member in BNI. He really knows his stuff. He is the co-author. He mentioned Power Teams earlier. Him and I did a short and sweet little ebook on one of his favorite power team meeting agendas. And you were actually on the BNI podcast sharing that a few years back, weren't you?
Episode 655, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 655. Yes, absolutely. I was there with Ivan. And then there was a long time ago, I think you and I did this conversation in front of a green screen at your home back in the day. And then I'm pretty sure Ivan shared that too on his official podcast, right?
Awesome. Yes, definitely. Yeah. We want to use it all over the place. Yeah. I remember the green screen. It was kind of hot. We need lots of air conditioning when we're shooting videos in the lights. So I want to say thank you, Jason, so very much. We haven't scheduled it yet, but probably later this year, he will be one of our guests on the More Abundant Entrepreneur Show. I do have the correct link now there on the screen, bit.ly/MAE show to get there. And we so appreciate y'all being here. Jason, I so appreciate you being here. I'm looking forward next week to chatting with y'all about how to stop procrastinating. We have been here today for how to turn your competition into collaboration. I want to say thank you one last time, Jason.
Tiffanie, I feel like if I'm procrastinating, it means I'm prioritizing at the highest level.
That may be how you look at it, but that's not how everybody else looks at it. So thank you. Thank y'all. Happy networking, y'all. See you soon.